Hi, I'm Patric Palm, CEO and founder of Favro, and this is the Learn from Leaders podcast. The background to this show is that Favro customers are some of the most innovative companies in the world. Enterprises wanting to be more agile, software as a service companies scaling fast, and game developers and publishers wanting to master live ops. So we get to know some truly inspiring leaders in product development, marketing, operations, sales, executive management. And what we do here is that we interview them about leadership so we can all learn from them. Let's go.
And we are live with Teis. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
I'm really looking forward to this. There's a lot of talk right now about monetization and how things are changing in the industry. And you're definitely the right person to speak about that. But for the ones that don't know you already, maybe we can start by, just hearing a little bit kind of like, your story, leading up to what you're doing today.
Yeah, well, thank you. And you're right, there's a lot of things that are changing. I'll look forward to get back to that. And a little bit about myself is that actually, if you asked me like 20 years ago, if I've been sitting here today talking about monetization games, I would have no idea. Back then, I didn't even think about, I was in like early 20s. I didn't even think that games were like something that would be made. It was more like, remember back in the Amiga days, it was still, like 5 people on the credits list. So I actually stumbled into games accidentally. I have a master's degree in law. I spent a few years in the Danish army as well. So I was on a very different track. But then, as complete coincidence, I stumbled upon games. And I'm super happy I did. And I haven't looked back since. This has been my background. So I joined a company called Deadline Games. Started out as the, I would say, the most entry of levels, which is the play tester. So not even technical tester, but simply just playing the game for fun. And so fun, a lot of those guys still around and still making games. And then I moved into production there as a producer. Did work some things on, I worked there for a couple of years, did a bit of indie game development, found out that I was more interested in the mainstream. So we joined IO Interactive, worked on Hitman again as a producer. And then thought I would try the new mobile web thing and joined a company called Movie Star Planet as a chief product officer. Had a short stint outside of games and then came here. Just a quick sort of backstory, but the point is I'm not a tech guy, I'm not a game designer, and I'm not just, how to say, you're maybe typical game guy. I remember just coming into the industry feeling very alienated by all the guys that I met who were, making demos on their old Amigas still back in the day, and they were going to LAN parties. I'd never been to a LAN party. I didn't know what it was. I was like, that's a weird party. I had to look it up, like, what's a LAN party? And also just, not having played all the games that they talked about. And I think one of my points is, when we talk about diversity these days, that it's also about taking people from outside of the industry that just have a completely different perspective. And one of the things that I really enjoyed was just building experiences. So I did that with other things. And I made music videos as a producer, and I, worked on short films and just organized concerts even, and just did a lot of events and things that I thought was fun. And I think that brought me to Multiscription actually, which sort of or led to that, you could say, which we founded a bit over 4 years ago, together with Martin Walfis, who is well famous in Sweden, I think is the best way to put it. Everyone knows him. He's one of the main guys in the Swedish games industry, but also very, very established outside. He founded a massive Malmö many years ago and has been just like instrumental in building the Swedish games industry. And I was very lucky to meet him. Again, total serendipity. And we started Multiscription. The reason why I bring that up is because he's the typical game developer, like, the bedroom coder who builds stuff in literally in his bedroom from he was like teenager, and he has such a focus on the games and the game developers and making great industry for them. Where I think my side of the coin is then actually the user experience, and thinking about it from their angle. And I think that's why I'm here today actually talking about the monetization, because the monetization is really the user input, because they get how to say prompted with this every day, whether it's through an ad or having to pay an in-app purchase or a subscription, of course, now. So I think that's how we work it in Multiscription, our company, and that's sort of what my interest is. Why do people pay for the things they do, and what should you offer them to give them something worth paying for?
We have to get back to Multiscription and also the specific problems that the company is solving. But maybe we can just zoom out a little bit first, and if you could give kind of your take on how monetization has been changing. Just so we have that kind of meta view of the changing landscape.
Yeah, and I think the first point I said before is that it's changing. Like you can never. That's what's so interesting about it is it's changing, and you have to change. And people are actually expecting you to change. I think we've gone from, the $1 mobile game, which was again a reaction to the more expensive mobile game, to the free-to-play game, and that happened. And I mean, it took some time, but it was also pretty fast actually. And I think now the free-to-play on mobile is the established monetization model. It's so more and more so on PC console actually. So that has changed, but that change happened around 2012. There were some interesting releases back then. It was Subway Surfers, Clash of Clans, and I think it was Candy Crush as well. All came out. Not the first free-to-play games, but definitely those that took it to the next step with microtransaction and ads. So now we've had 10 years of that, but over the last couple of years, we've seen the movement away from that into a different model. We've seen the battle passes, and battle passes cousin, I would say, the subscription, because they share a lot of the same mechanics underneath. The battle pass is basically a non-recurring subscription, you could say. It's a one-off subscription because it has the same kind of values and methods, mechanics in it. So where I think we are now, and this could, if someone watches this 2 or 3 years from today, it might have changed, right? Because of regulations or other things. But I think that where we are now is at a trinity of mobile game monetization, which means that when you're monetizing a game, it has to stand on 3 legs. It has to stand on ads. You still need ads. It has to have in-app purchase, so those who really want to spend in your game can spend deep into your game. And then a subscription, preferably a Battle Pass style subscription that gives you Battle Pass style of benefits. Those 3, I think you should. That's sort of the best practice today. There's a few things that are might confusing it a bit, which is the entry of Apple Arcade and Netflix, which I think are and as long as the Google Play Pass as well, I think they're really, really interesting. I think it's a good offer for the consumers. I mean, it's a ridiculously low price point for Apple Arcade, and for Netflix, I mean, it's already included. You get it for free on top. I think it's confusing the landscape a bit because it's not really a new way of monetizing games, although they are not coin subscription services. But Apple is a publisher. Like, they're publishing their game, and you get a cut, and you get some upfront payment, you get a cut. If your game does well, and so is Netflix. Netflix is a publisher, or they even own games now, right? They own game companies. So that's not really a new business model as much as it's publishers who are integrating the new business model or taking it on and making it theirs. I don't know if that makes sense.
What the other factors are playing in here? I mean, one thing I'm thinking about specifically is it's been harder to succeed with performance marketing, as a way to acquire players. Now, how does that play into kind of monetization? Because I mean, you typically, if I look at this from kind of a business point of view, when I look at kind of what's your customer acquisition costs, what's your recouping on certain campaigns, and if the abilities to do good performance marketing are changes, that is of course messing a lot with that kind of go-to-market model.
Yeah, and you're totally right. And a lot of things are happening. I mean, it's a whole long talk in itself, and I don't claim to be the ads experts as such, but of course the tracking that you say is an issue for people. But things are happening so fast right now, and then people are trying to circumvent it. I heard someone in a call the other day called it whack-a-mole, right? Because Apple is playing whack-a-mole with all the ways that people are trying to circumvent the tracking. So it is changing, and I would say the finely tuned buy low, sell high model of ads that we've seen, especially hyper casual, which was very impressive in itself, very impressive machine they built, is broken. And you can't do that anymore. And they just say you can't attribute the spending or the campaign to what you're selling. But maybe then that's a chance to go back to old-fashioned salesmanship. Like if someone comes into a store, you can't necessarily see how that person saw your store, right? They don't, did they see an ad on the paper? Did they just walking by? Did they hear about it from friends? So you have to talk about how can you then attract it. And you still do the other things, trying to sort out the attribution. It's not that, but maybe look at then on the supply side. You would say, like, what am I offering to these guys? Now, I don't know how they came in. I don't know where they came in from, but now they're here. What can I offer them? What kind of palette of offers do I have? And there I think I hear a lot of talk about games saying, we have 98% non-payers. But saying non-payers, is that really a term for these people? I'm pretty sure they're buying something at some point in their lives, right? They're just not buying what you're selling them. And that's a very, very different thing. Like if you think about it, they don't buy at all, or no, they're actually not buying what you're offering them. So they're playing your game. So clearly you have something that they think is a valuable experience. So how can you offer them something that they want to buy? You can look at the packs, of course, you want to sell. But you can also look at the price point. You can look at price elasticity. But most importantly, if some people are confident or comfortable, as you say, with the in-app purchase, maybe it's a subscription. Maybe it's a battle pass. Maybe it's something completely different. Maybe it's a physical product that they buy and that gives them benefits in the game. It could be so many things that you have to think innovatively about. And I think that has been for many years the problem, that people just label a large group of their players as just people they don't have to think about because they're non-payers. Actually, they are potential customers.
Cool. And I think that's a healthier perspective. So let's get a little bit more into Multiscription specifically. Can you please talk a little bit about the specific problem that you saw and you wanted to address, and how you have done this and kind of like where you are right now? That was many questions in one there.
Yeah. So the reason for that, Martin and we founded Multiscription was to help developers monetize the games. And we saw there were so many great games out there that weren't getting the financial success that they deserved because they were struggling with the monetization. And we heard so many game developers say, I just want to make a great game. I don't care about the monetization. So we thought, hey, I'll take you up on that. Why don't we solve that for you? You make a great game. We help you with the monetization. And then, everyone's happy. And I think that was really the key. And I think when we played a lot of these games, most game developers, they don't want to focus on monetization. They just want to. And you can feel that when you play the game. You can really feel that it's almost like cringe, right? They don't really want to do this. So we do that. We help them do that. So for that, we created a tool called Unleashed, which is a subscription service tool that the publishers can take and integrate into the game. What that does is that it gives them a way to have a subscription in the game that is linking other games into the same subscription. So as a player, I would sign up through one game. I would see the offer for a subscription, sign up through that game. It's technically through our app, but it's sort of linked. I won't go into that process now. It's actually pretty simple. But it means when you sign up in one game, you get benefits in all the games in the network. We currently have 25 games in the service. And we are growing literally every month. We're adding more games to it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we are also helping with the design side. So we have a lot of experience in what is a good driver for a subscription and what is not. And we help developers with this, and because they might not have that expertise. It's no different from when people went from premium to in-app purchase, and there we saw that again, people needed help in how to create a good in-app purchase. So that's what we're building. We are, as I said, with 25 games, we're signing up publishers. We're currently live on Android. We are soon live on iOS. And that's in a nutshell the service we're building, the subscription, basically to give them a tool to integrate and to have a subscription service in the game. And the usual question I get is, why don't I just create my own subscription service instead of going with you guys? And we say that's totally fair. You can do that. But again, now comes the player perspective, which is really what I'm championing a lot. If I'm a player and I'm seeing a subscription for one game, it's hard to justify compared to all other subscription services I see out there, which has lots of content. Like, you can't listen to all the songs on Spotify, you can't watch all the shows on Netflix, etc. And you can't play all the games on Apple Arcade. It's just, there's so much. So that's why I say you need to team up with others. And this is what we're doing again. We're creating this network of game publishers who are working together to offer a really relevant product and service to the player. It's also a bit of I would say, as I said, especially with these new services, Netflix, Apple Arcade, and Google Play Pass. I mean, these guys are publishers, right? And they are, and two of them even own the platform. So they are really guarding or walling off the service from others. And that means you'll be left out. And if you can't get into those services, what you're going to do? You're going to be alone on the outside. This is why you team up with other great games. So you have a service that covers all of them, and this is what we can do. This is what we can help. One thing that's important for us is that when you have our service integrated, it's not an all-you-can-eat model where everything is unlocked. We do remove all the annoying ads or banners and interstitials. But players can still purchase and purchase on top. And actually, we encourage that, and we encourage them to subscribe to the discount. The reason for that is that we want people who really enjoy a game to be able to invest more in it. And you and I, we might not enjoy the same game equally. So I might be really into the game. It's my main game, and I don't mind paying whatever, $20 a month or $30 a month. I love this game. We even pay more, heavily pay that. But you don't want to do that. So we don't want to set the price point high. So we set it very low, so we create a base so everyone can jump in. And then people can still buy on top of that for those who really want to engage in it.
Have you have several follow-up questions here. Let's see where to let's start at like the competition end. I think you already talked a little bit about it, but are there other players that are also doing somewhat similar, or basically trying to address the same problem?
I think there's a lot of companies that are trying to help. There's no one doing what we are doing with this integrated service. There's a couple that have their sort of white label solutions for other stores or subscription stores. There are others that take your game and put out on other stores in certain territories, and that's all great ideas and great companies with really nice and talented people. But that's not really what we are doing. We're the only one who are going into the sort of the main market of these games, the main territories, with an integrated and fully flexible model that you can build on top of. We're essentially just another tool in your monetization toolbox. As I say, it's really a trinity. So you can check, do we have ads? Yep, we have all the ads. Do we have in-app purchase? Yeah, we have some, relevant packages. Do we have subscription? Yeah, we just implemented Unleashed, which is the name of our service. We just implemented Unleashed. We have that. Not only do we sell subscription through that, but we also get subscribers through that network, which is another big benefit of what we do. Basically, it's free players you get. And to the problem you talked about acquiring users so difficult, well, imagine there was a service out there that gave you users for free. And not only that, when they came into your game, they were already subscribers. They were already payers to your game. So you're already, making money. And then essentially, it's a bad way of making money on people. You know what I mean, right? They were already sort of putting money towards you in that game. And that's what we're building. And we've seen so much good feedback. both from players and from publishers as well, and just the industry in general, is really embracing what we do, and we're really happy to do that. And I think it's also because we really built to help, right? Our model is to help. We take a very small cut. We take essentially 15% of the revenue that's generated for us. So we think that's a very fair deal for publishers, and we want to leave the majority of the money on the table, of course. So yeah, that's I think there's not much direct competition, to answer your question.
Is there, with this kind of, network here that you kind of come back to, which is interesting, is there a certain, let's say, theme? Is it created in any way, or are you planning to do it?
Actually, I think the best curators are the players. So I don't want to decide what they should play. And one of the differences, so we're very open platform. We don't have adult games on there, and we don't have real money gambling, but that's sort of where the boundaries. We have kids games, we have games for grown-ups, and we have everything in between. But I think what the differences is between our subscription Unleashed and, for example, Apple is, again, Apple Arcade's great, it's a great offer, but the game you want to play might not be on there. Whereas in our case, it's an open platform, so everyone can put their game on if they work together with us, of course, but it's an open tool. So that means there's a much bigger likelihood that your game is going to be there. Plus, because we present the offer to the players in the games, that means inherently the players are already playing the game that the offer is in. So it's instantly relevant to them, the game is in there.
So let's look a bit to the future then. And again, we zoom out, and if you take the perspective of the game maker, and you're getting started now, maybe just raise some money, but your release is still something a little bit more in the future. What other kind of changes in the market that you think would happen that you need to start thinking about already now, so you're not strategizing around yesterday or even today, but you're really trying to use that old Wayne Gretzky quote, you need to
get to where the puck is going.
You don't want to skate to where the puck is. You want to skate to where the puck is going.
Yeah, I think that's. I think there's still going to be lots of different avenues for you to take. I still think there's going to be a place for the quick fire, quick game, the so-called toilet gaming, right? The very quick sessions. There's still going to be a place for that. I don't think it's going to necessarily be through downloading lots of individual games. I think it's going to be a more, collected experience with that. So I think that's something especially with the new, as I said, the tracking, I think that will go away. That you're having 50 small 2-minute games on your phone, I think that's gone away. I think mobile web is very important, very interesting. Something that will happen, change a lot. I think I would probably not be too. I think there's lots of changes now about the off-platform payments. I'm not sure much will change with that. Just for everyone to catch up, it's that Google and Apple will be allowing off-platform payments in the near future. At least that's the sort of the claim right now. But I'm not sure I was going to make a lot of change, because what I'm hearing is that developers and publishers are talking about how they can get a bigger piece of the pie. Like, so they can only, they can essentially charge the same to the user, but claim more. Again, taking the user perspective, which is where I come from, I don't see why I would want to go off platform to a website I might not trust, or to a service I might not trust, put in my credit card number, create an account, and not save a lot. You say, okay, then you put in 10% saving. That's fine. But if you sell a $1 in a purchase, you save 10 cents. Is that going to make you check out, find your wallet, put in your credit card? I don't think so. And lots of other reasons why. So I think I would not be too, there will be some things happen. People will solve it, but I don't think it's going to happen a lot. I would say what I would suggest to anyone is build persistent experiences, and build something that you can have your live ops on, that you can create something around and you can keep alive, and go away from the sort of the one-off IPs and all that. Build something that's last, and build it more as a service. I think that's going to be, we see it now, but I think going down now, it's going to be even clearer.
Any final thought on your own, let's say, entrepreneurial career? If you would start, Multiscription today, is there something you would have done different?
It's interesting. First of all, we probably started Multiscription a bit too early. We started like a year and a half too early. So we were spending a lot of time educating the industry on subscriptions, and everyone's saying subscriptions what? Now people are talking about which subscription to choose. So I would say you might have a great idea, but I think, you might work a bit, on the side where you have another job before you jump in and do it. Make sure the timing is right. I think is the first thing. Second job, thinking about my own entrepreneurial career, I've always done a lot of things, but this is the first time I founded a company like this with the backing of, great investors and just, everything and this scale. And I was 40 when I did that. Like, I think I keep bringing up now Notch and Minecraft has not been mentioned so much more, but I keep bringing up, he was 3 years at King before he, I think that was King he was at them. I think he was even making, so he was making match 3 games for 3 years before making Minecraft, right? And I think if you're a young person, go work somewhere, build up some experience, try out different things, build a network of people that you can draw on, because you're gonna draw on a lot of people when you start your company. So do that. Don't think that you have to start straight out of university with whatever idea you just had there. And secondly, for those who are in the late 30s, early 40s, whatever, even 50s, what do I know? It's not too late. Start a company. You have all the network, you have all the experience. It's going back to the roots a lot. But I really recommend that. Just, don't think it's something you do in the early 20s. You can always start a company. I think that would be a bit of thoughts on my own career at least.
Well, thank you so much for adding also entrepreneurial angle to this, here in the end. And, again, thanks for today. I think this was a great theme. And in the end of the day, game studios are businesses, and if you don't make any money, you don't have any business. So though we have a tendency to talk about so many other things around making games, this is obviously an extremely central part of a long-term success.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. It was really fun.
All right, thank you so much, and thanks for listening. See you in the next one.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you did, you know what to do. Share it in your social media, so more people can take part and learn. And one more thing, check out Favro Academy on favro.com for many more learnings. Thanks for tuning in.